they had a lot of loanees when they got promoted. They needed to bring in a lot of players. And
whose
two,
fault is that?
hold on. That's first of all, that's just how sometimes how you have to survive.
Whose fault is that?
Survive by the rules.
You can't say that. You play by the rules.
I'm not going to punish a team for having loanees and having to go out and find other players to replace those.
Nottingham Forest is the latest English club to be slapped with a point deduction for violating the Premier League's financial rules. Forest was hit yesterday with a 4-point deduction for violating financial rules during the 2022-2023 season. The penalty has dropped them into the relegation zone. Forest is the second Premier League team to be hit with a points deduction for breaking financial rules, joining Everton, which had an initial 10-point deduction reduced to 6 points after an appeal. Nigel, do you have any sympathy for Forest and Everton fans seeing their teams hit with point deductions for spending money to try and survive in the Premier League when you're seeing teams like Chelsea, Everton, Man United, City spending so much money?
Well, the rules have been put in place now, and I think it's for all the clubs to take that responsibility of following the guidelines. There are a few little loopholes that you can use in that situation. For once, what Chelsea did initially was called the Chelsea loophole by signing a player and giving them 7-8 years to pay the fee, which is a way around the loss margin, which is, I believe, 105 million a year. So the financial fair play regulation is there for a reason. I think for football fans, you have to put greater responsibility on the people running your club, because most likely clubs used to go and try and want to buy the best players and spend recklessly without safeguarding the future and the long-term future of the football club. Now, this means for your club, you have to be more smart with your scouting networks, actually do more scouting than just jumping on players because of other clubs wanting to get that. It's not always a great fix. An example for me is Paris Saint-Germain tried it with putting a Galacticos all together. It never worked out. And you're talking about Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi. It doesn't always guarantee you success. For the clubs like Manchester City and Chelsea, they already did that before these regulations came into play. So now I feel that the responsibility has to be put on the people running your clubs to make sure that they're doing it for the benefit and the best of your club. I think it will make it even a playing field in the long term, because this is why the likes of Newcastle, who are probably the richest club in world football, cannot spend no money because of these regulations. So it means you have to put in the groundwork. That point against Luton this week now, where Luton scored a last-minute equaliser, looks like 3 points. Forest, I'm a bit worried about them now. And we've obviously Everton have another investigation going through with them, where they could be ducked points at the end of the season. It's going to be very interesting to see how the Premier League table finishes. And just to link it to an American perspective, Gio Reyna's made this move to Nottingham Forest. Is he going to get game time in a relegation battle if he's already not playing? I just think it makes his game time even more difficult for Nottingham Forest.
Very briefly, I think Forest got the raw end of the deal here. In particular, one thing that happened was they were deducted a certain amount of points, less than Everton, for a similar charge because they didn't fight it, which I think sets a terrible precedent. Well, hold on, as a club, you should be allowed to state your case. One, that's terrible. And two, they waited on selling a player because a £15 million offer higher was coming. And it did come, and they did sell them for more. So to wait and not miss the window in which you're graded when this PSR is supposed to be so that clubs could be sustainable and make money and stay in the league. One, they had a lot of loanees when they got promoted. They needed to bring in a lot of players. And
whose
two,
fault is that?
Hold on. That's first of all, that's just how sometimes how you have to survive.
Whose fault is that?
Survive by the rules.
You can't say that. You play by the rules.
I'm not going to punish a team for having loanees and having to go out and find other players to replace those.
You run your business.
And second of all, a club has the right to wait to get a better offer and then get that better offer. You shouldn't be graded on that scale if the point of PSR is to help you be sustainable and create more profit and stay in a league in a way that's sustainable, when that's what you're doing.
No,
this is ridiculous. I'm not saying no
taking
points.
Responsibility. Come on,
it certainly is.
It's your responsibility as a club. If you want to go and loan players, you know what comes with it. You get promoted, you need to make sure you've got players there. I've been in that situation where clubs are about to lose 11 players. Whose fault is that? It's the club's responsibility.
But that's not a reason why to give someone a point deduction. I'm specifically saying
the rules.
No, I'm giving you context as to why they went out. I mean, maybe they bought too many players, but a reason why they went out and purchased a lot of players. But in particular, not selling a player that would have put them under that guideline because they wanted to wait and get a better offer, and a better offer did come. They knew it was coming. It simply didn't fit within the window is ridiculous.
It's not.
And that shouldn't be taken into account.
It shouldn't be.
This was selling a player. This isn't buying.
But then that's another precedent. But then that's another precedent that you're setting there. If you're going to be graded under a certain time frame, but you want that extension for a player that your offer came later,
is it possible that the time frame doesn't really take into consideration the way clubs work?
What you talk? Well, look at Brighton. Don't have this problem. Brighton have been buying and selling players. They know they can sell players for X amount of money, and they've run it financially well. They've recruited well.
That's a strong man argument.
It's not. No, Forest get into the Premier League. You know what's coming. You have loads of loanees. You're desperate. That means you've done poor planning, poor organisation to know what's at stake. You know the rules. The rules are written. Have smart people or better equipped people run your football club, and you'll be all right. Like,
sure,
you can't make
but you can say that about
that.
anything. That's ridiculous.
Ooh. It's a shame we don't have opinions on this. That was fun. I enjoyed that. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. When we return, we're turning our attention to